Welcome to our deep dive into the let them theory.
Sounds fun.
You know how we all crave that feeling of peace and control, especially in our relationships?
Yeah.
That's exactly what this theory kind of aims to unlock.
Right.
And you won't believe where the idea came from.
Okay.
Total prom night meltdown.
Uh-oh.
Except it wasn't the teenagers melting down,
Right.
It was the parents.
The parents.
Really? Yeah.
It is interesting how often our desire to control things comes from fear. Like we're literally wired for it. It's like a survival mechanism.
Right.
But as you'll see with the let them theory,
Okay.
sometimes letting go is the key to finding true peace
Yeah.
and actually getting what you want.
Okay, so picture this prom night.
Okay.
My son Oakley, all dressed up, ready for the big night,
Yeah.
and then chaos.
Oh, no.
Rain starts pouring, dinner reservations disappear,
Oh, my God.
and the corsage
Let's just say it was a floral fail.
of epic proportions.
Wow.
Now, my initial reaction was full-on panic mode.
I can only imagine.
Oh, yeah, I was scrambling to fix everything.
Oh, yeah.
But here's the thing. The kids were totally fine.
Oh, wow.
They adapted,
Okay.
found a taco place,
Nice.
and ended up having a blast.
Good for them.
That's when the light bulb went off for me.
The takeaway?
Letting go of control can actually lead to more joy
Okay.
and resilience, even in situations that feel totally chaotic.
What you observed that night with the teenagers is a perfect example of the let them theory in action.
Yeah,
They didn't even know it, but they were already living it.
totally.
They let go of expectations, accepted the situation,
Right.
and as a result, they were free to enjoy themselves.
It's so true.
The adults, on the other hand, they
Yeah.
were clinging to control.
Right.
And who was stressed?
Oh, totally.
The adults.
Exactly. It was a real aha moment for me. I realized I was trying to control things that were completely outside my power. And that's the core of the let them theory. It's a two-part equation, let them, plus let me.
Yeah, I like that.
And so let's break it down.
Okay.
The let them part is all about accepting that you cannot control other people's choices, their actions, or even external events.
Think of it like a playground seesaw.
Okay.
When you try to force your will on others, it's like pushing down on your end of the seesaw.
Okay.
You get stuck feeling weighed down,
Yeah.
powerless.
Right.
But when you say let them, you release that pressure, allowing the seesaw to level out.
I see.
That's where the let me part comes in.
Let me. That's where things get really interesting. Let me is about shifting your focus to what you can control.
Right.
Your own reactions, your choices, your actions.
And it's not just about feeling better.
Okay.
It's about tapping into a different part of your nervous system.
Okay.
Like, for example, when we experience stress, our sympathetic nervous system kicks in,
Okay.
triggering that fight or flight response.
Right.
But deep breaths can actually stimulate the vagus nerve, which is part of the parasympathetic nervous system.
So it's like hitting a reset button for your stress response.
Exactly.
I love that.
Deep, intentional breaths can literally calm your nervous system down, creating space for clear thinking and intentional action.
Speaking of stress,
Yeah.
how can we apply the let them theory
Okay.
to those everyday annoyances that tend to hijack our mood? You know, things like long lines at the grocery store.
Yeah.
That person who cuts you off in traffic.
Right. Mel Robbins calls this the reset button technique.
Okay.
When you find yourself getting irritated by something you can't control, you consciously say to yourself, let them,
Okay.
acknowledge it's happening,
Right.
but release the need to control it.
Okay. I'm visualizing myself in that long checkout line.
Yeah.
Getting impatient. I say, let them to the slow cashier.
Okay.
Then what?
Then you move to let me take a deep breath. Let me focus on something positive. Let me choose to stay calm.
It's so simple, yet so powerful.
It is.
I remember reading about Mel Robbins' experience on a plane
Okay.
where the person behind her was coughing nonstop.
Oh, gosh.
It was stressing her out.
Yeah.
But then she remembered, let them cough. It was out of her control.
Right.
This freed her to focus on, let me protect her health
Okay.
by wearing a mask
Right.
and focusing on her own well-being.
That's a great example of shifting your perspective.
Yeah.
From feeling like a victim of circumstance to an empowered individual who can make choices to support their own well-being.
Exactly.
Now, what if we take this concept to the workplace?
Yes.
You mentioned earlier you wanted to talk about career frustrations.
We've all encountered that frustrating boss.
Yeah.
Or that situation where you feel like you're being overlooked for a promotion.
Exactly. Mel Robbins actually has a story about a boss.
Okay.
Boss Steve.
Oh, Boss Steve.
Who kept stringing an employee along, promising a promotion that never materialized.
What a classic. But we can't control Boss Steve, right?
Right. We can't control other people's actions or decisions.
Okay.
And this is a powerful let me moment.
Okay.
You always have the power to choose what you do.
So in the case of Boss Steve, you could let him do his thing.
Right.
And let me start looking for a new job.
Exactly.
Where I'm valued and appreciated.
Precisely.
It's a reminder that you are never truly stuck.
Mm-hmm.
You can choose to leave any job.
Right.
Any relationship,
yeah.
any situation, whenever you choose.
It's about recognizing your own power and agency.
It's like taking back the reins of your own life. And speaking of tricky situations, family dynamics can be a minefield, right?
Oh, yeah.
Let's dive into how the let them theory can help us navigate those sometimes challenging relationships.
Family relationships are especially complex.
Yeah.
Because there's so much history. So many unspoken expectations.
Right.
It's helpful to remember that each person in a family operates within their own frame of reference.
Okay.
Meaning they see the world through the lens of their own experiences and beliefs.
It's like everyone is wearing a different pair of glasses.
Yeah.
That colors how they see the world.
Exactly.
That reminds me of the story about Mel Robbins' mom initially disliking her husband, Chris.
Oh, really?
Turns out her mom's resistance stemmed from the fear of her daughter moving far away.
Interesting.
Once Mel understood her mom's frame of reference, she could see where those feelings were coming from, even if she didn't agree with them.
Understanding someone's frame of reference doesn't require you to condone their behavior or change your own opinion.
Right.
It simply allows for more empathy and compassion.
Okay.
Which can lead to stronger connections.
So it's not about saying, you're right. It's more about saying, I see where you're coming from.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about creating space for understanding, even amidst differing perspectives.
I like that.
Which is particularly helpful when dealing with those recurring family squabbles.
Oh, yeah.
But family isn't the only source of relationship complexities, is it?
Right.
We also have friendships.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Adult friendships can be their own unique challenge.
Oh, totally.
We go through so many life changes, relocations, career shifts, family commitments.
Oh, yeah.
It's what Mel Robbins calls the great scattering.
The great scattering. I love that.
Yeah.
It feels so accurate.
It does.
It's like everyone is on their own little raft drifting along.
Yeah.
And sometimes those rafts connect and sometimes they just drift apart.
Exactly. And it's not always a bad thing.
Okay.
Sometimes it's just the natural evolution of friendships.
Right.
Mel Robbins breaks it down by highlighting the 3 pillars of friendship: proximity, timing, and energy.
Okay.
When those shift, friendships naturally evolve too.
So if you're not physically near your friends,
right?
If your schedules are constantly clashing, if your energy levels or interests are misaligned, those friendships might naturally fade.
Right. And it's not necessarily a personal rejection.
Right.
It's more about recognizing that relationships are dynamic.
This reminds me of a story Mel Robbins shared about her own experience with a shifting friend group. She really took it personally when she felt left out, but then she realized everyone was going through their own stuff and their friendships were simply evolving.
That's a great example of how applying the let them theory can help us navigate those hurt feelings and reframe the situation.
It's so true.
She couldn't control her friend's actions.
Right.
But she could control her own response.
So instead of getting stuck in resentment or feeling like a victim, she could choose to let them have their own experiences.
Right.
And focus on let me cultivate the kinds of friendships that feel supportive and fulfilling.
Precisely.
And speaking of friendships, what about making new friends as adults?
Oh, yeah, that can be tough.
It can feel so daunting.
It can.
It can feel like everyone already has their friend groups established. Where do you even start?
Mel Robbins actually moved to a new town.
Okay.
And had to navigate this very challenge.
Wow. So what's the secret? What'd she do?
Her advice.
Okay.
Give it a year.
Give it a year. What does that mean?
It means being patient with yourself.
Okay.
It takes time to build genuine connections.
Yeah.
Especially when you're starting from scratch.
Right.
Don't get discouraged if it doesn't happen overnight.
So often we want instant results, but relationships, like anything worthwhile, take time to grow.
Exactly.
And remember, you can always utilize, let them let me.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You can let them be whoever they are. Right.
Let them choose to engage with you or not. And focus on, let me put myself out there. Let me be open to connection.
I love that.
It takes the pressure off.
It does.
So it's not about forcing connections. It's about creating opportunities and being open to what unfolds.
Yeah.
What else did Mel Robbins suggest for making new friends?
She's a big advocate for what she calls going first.
Going first.
It means taking the initiative to introduce yourself, strike up conversations, extend invitations, even if it feels a little awkward or uncomfortable at first.
All right.
Remember that awkwardness is temporary.
Yeah.
But the potential rewards of a new friendship can last a lifetime.
That's a great reminder.
It is.
We often wait for others to reach out to us. But what if we flipped the script?
Right.
What if we took the lead?
Yeah.
Even something as simple as knocking on a neighbor's door or inviting a colleague to grab coffee could spark a new friendship.
It could. I remember reading that Mel Robbins actually started a close friendship by simply knocking on her neighbor's door.
That's awesome.
Proof that going first really works.
It does.
It reminds me of that saying.
What's that?
The magic happens outside your comfort zone. Okay, so we've talked about letting go of control, managing stress, navigating family dynamics, and even making new friends.
We have.
But there's one more area where the let them theory can be incredibly helpful.
Okay, what's that?
And that's when we're dealing with the frustration of wanting someone else to change.
Oh, yeah, that's a tough one.
Ooh, that is so relatable.
It is.
Whether it's a partner's unhealthy habits, a friend's bad decisions, or even a family member's stubborn refusal to see things our way.
Right.
It can be really challenging.
Absolutely.
And it often triggers that urge to control, to fix, to advise.
Yeah.
But Mel Robbins points out 3 important truths about change that can help us reframe these situations.
Okay. I'm listening.
First, change is painful.
Yeah.
We tend to underestimate how difficult it actually is for someone to make a significant change in their life.
It's easy to just quit smoking.
Yeah.
Or just eat healthier.
Right.
But actually doing it is a whole different story.
Exactly.
And second, everyone thinks they're the exception.
Oh, yeah.
We all believe deep down that the rules don't apply to us.
They're like, yeah, other people might get lung cancer from smoking, but I won't.
Right.
It's that invincibility complex.
Exactly.
And finally, and this is crucial, pressuring someone to change often backfires. It creates resistance, resentment, and a power struggle.
I remember the seesaw. Pressuring is like pushing down on your end. Making the other person feel trapped and powerless.
So if nagging, guilt tripping, and lecturing don't work, what's a better approach?
Mel Robbins suggests shifting from pressure to influence.
Influence. Interesting.
It is.
So how do we do that?
It's about modeling the desired behavior. Making it look appealing and effortless. For example, if you're trying to encourage a partner to exercise more, don't nag them about going to the gym. Instead, start going for walks yourself. Join a fun fitness class and radiate good health and energy.
I see. It's like planting seeds of inspiration rather than trying to force them to grow.
Exactly.
And to help facilitate this process, Mel Robbins introduces a really helpful tool.
Oh, cool.
Called the ABC loop.
The ABC loop. Tell me more.
It stands for apologize, back off, and celebrate.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Break it down for me.
The first step, apologize, is about acknowledging past attempts to control or pressure the person. You essentially say, I'm sorry for nagging you. I realize it wasn't helpful.
So you're taking ownership of your own behavior.
I like that.
Right.
Then you move to asking open-ended questions.
Okay.
To help the person uncover their own motivation for change.
So instead of telling them what they should do, you're helping them figure out what they want to do.
Exactly.
Mel Robbins suggests using the 5 whys technique. You simply keep asking why. To dig deeper into their thoughts and feelings.
Like, why do you think you overeat? Why is it important to you to lose weight?
Yes. Keep asking why until you get to the heart of the matter. It's amazing what people discover when they're given this space to really explore their own motivations.
And then comes the back off part.
Right.
This sounds tricky.
It can be.
Okay.
It's about resisting the urge to nag,
right,
remind, or control.
Okay.
You've planted the seeds of introspection. Now you trust the process.
Huh. It's like being a gardener. You can't force a seed to sprout.
Right.
You plant it,
Yeah.
water it, give it sunlight, and then you trust the natural process of growth.
That's a perfect analogy.
And during this back-off phase, remember to continue modeling the desired behavior yourself.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
You make it look appealing, enjoyable, effortless.
It's about radiating the energy of the change you want to see in the other person.
Exactly.
And finally, the third step is celebrate.
Okay.
You acknowledge and celebrate any progress the person makes, however small.
It's about being their cheerleader, not their drill sergeant.
The goal is to help the person feel like the change was their idea.
Okay.
Not something they were forced into.
This whole ABC loop is brilliant.
It is?
It's a total game changer for approaching those tricky conversations.
Right.
It takes the pressure off everyone involved.
It does.
But what about those really tough situations where someone we love is struggling with something serious?
Like addiction.
Yes.
Mental health issues.
Yeah.
Those situations where it feels like the stakes are so much higher.
How does the let them theory apply when we're dealing with those kinds of challenges?
It can be incredibly difficult. But it's actually even more crucial to remember the let them principle in these situations.
Okay.
As much as we might want to rescue our loved ones from their struggles, we can't want their recovery more than they do.
That is such a hard truth.
It is.
Especially when we're watching someone we care about hurting themselves.
It's heartbreaking. But Dr. Robert Waldinger, the director of the Harvard Study of Adult Development, emphasizes that sometimes people need to hit rock bottom to find their own motivation for change.
It's like that saying, you can't wake someone who's pretending to be asleep.
Exactly.
It's about recognizing the difference between rescuing and supporting.
Yes.
Rescuing enables unhealthy behavior, while supporting creates a safe space for someone to find their own strength.
All right.
Mel Robbins has a powerful story about her husband hitting rock bottom financially.
Oh, wow.
His brother, despite having the means, refused to loan him money. At the time, it seemed harsh.
Yeah.
But it turned out to be the catalyst
All right.
for Mel's husband to take responsibility for his actions and turn his life around.
That's a powerful example.
It is.
Of how sometimes tough love can be the most supportive act.
And Mel also shares her own experience with postpartum depression.
Oh, wow.
She talks about how her loved ones simply showed up for her without judgment or pressure, creating a space for her to heal.
They provided support without rescuing.
I love that.
They were the lighthouse, not the lifeboat.
Beautiful analogy. Okay, shifting gears a bit here.
Okay.
Let's talk about love.
Okay.
Specifically the challenges of finding and choosing a partner.
Yes. Dating in the digital age.
Oh my gosh, the whole new landscape.
It is.
It can be so overwhelming.
Yeah.
The apps, the ghosting.
Right.
The constant pressure to present a perfect version of yourself. It's exhausting.
It can be.
So how do we even navigate this?
Mel Robbins has some great advice.
Okay.
For navigating this terrain.
Okay.
She emphasizes the importance of being brave enough to be yourself. Don't try to fit into some mold of what you think you should be.
Right.
To attract a partner.
Okay.
Authentic connection comes from embracing your true self, quirks and all.
So ditch the filters, both literally and figuratively.
Exactly.
And here's a powerful takeaway from Mel Robbins that I think everyone needs to hear.
What's that?
If someone likes you, you'll know no. If you're constantly questioning where you stand, if you're getting mixed signals,
right.
If you're feeling confused, chances are they're just not that into you.
Wow, that is so liberating.
Isn't it?
It gives you permission to stop chasing unavailable people. And focus on those who are genuinely interested.
Yes.
And excited to be with you.
And this is where the let them theory comes in handy yet again.
It always does.
Let them not text back. Let them pursue other options. Let them make choices that don't include you. And then shift your focus to let me focus on those who are interested. Let me nurture those relationships where I feel valued and appreciated.
It's about creating a feast of love and connection.
Yes.
Not settling for crumbs.
And that leads us to the final and often most difficult aspect of relationships. Knowing when to walk away.
Heartbreak.
It's something we've all experienced at some point.
Yeah.
And even though it's universal, it doesn't make it any less painful.
It doesn't.
So how do we know when a relationship is truly worth fighting for, and when is it time to walk away?
Mel Robbins outlines 2 essential ingredients for a healthy, lasting relationship. First, both people need to genuinely want the relationship to work and be willing to put in the effort. And second, neither person should have to compromise their core values or dreams to make the relationship work.
So if one person is constantly trying to change the other, or if their fundamental beliefs and goals are completely misaligned, those are red flags.
Exactly. And here's where we have to face a somewhat hard truth. Research from the Gottman Institute shows that 69% of relationship problems are actually unresolvable.
Wow.
It's not about blame. It's about recognizing that sometimes, even with the best intentions, incompatibility exists.
It's like trying to fit 2 puzzle pieces together that just don't belong. So how do we know when we've reached that point? How do we know when it's time to walk away?
Mel Robbins suggests asking yourself a very honest question. Is this issue a deal breaker for me? Or can I truly accept it? And move forward without resentment?
It's about separating those minor annoyances we can learn to live with from those fundamental incompatibilities that erode the foundation of a relationship.
Precisely.
And sometimes the answer is that we can't accept it. And that's okay. It's painful to end a relationship.
It is.
But remember, heartbreak is survivable.
It is.
It's like that saying, sometimes good things fall apart so better things can fall together.
I like that.
But knowing that intellectually doesn't always make the emotional experience any easier.
That's true.
So what can we do?
Mel Robbins offers some practical tips
for
navigating the healing process.
Okay.
Things like no contact with your ex.
Okay.
Journaling to process your emotions. Focusing on self-care.
Right.
And filling your calendar with activities that bring you joy.
It's like giving yourself permission to grieve, to heal, and then eventually to open your heart to new possibilities.
And speaking of new possibilities, this brings us to one of the most profound aspects of the let them theory.
Okay.
The power of let me in our relationship with ourselves.
Ah, yes. The most important relationship of all.
It is.
It's so easy to be our own worst critics.
Right.
Constantly comparing ourselves to others and beating ourselves up for our perceived flaws.
It's like we have this inner bully who's always whispering negative thoughts in our ear.
Exactly. But what if we applied the let them theory to our own inner critic?
Oh, that's a great idea.
What if we said, let those negative thoughts come and go. Let those feelings of self-doubt exist. They don't have power over me unless I give it to them. And then we shift to, let me focus on my strengths. Let me appreciate my unique qualities. Let me be kind to myself.
It's like replacing that inner bully with a supportive best friend.
Yeah.
Someone who encourages us, celebrates our wins, and reminds us that we are worthy and capable just as we are.
And that shift in self-perception can be incredibly transformative.
It can.
It allows us to show up in the world with more confidence.
Yeah.
Authenticity and joy.
Mel Robbins has this beautiful analogy of the sky to illustrate this concept.
Okay.
She says, imagine the sky as a constant, ever-changing entity.
Okay.
Sometimes it's clear and blue.
Right.
Sometimes it's filled with clouds. And sometimes there are storms.
Yeah.
We can spend our lives trying to control the weather.
Right.
Wishing for endless sunshine.
Yeah.
But the sky doesn't care about our preferences.
It's true.
It simply is.
And the same is true for life.
Yes.
We can resist reality. We can fight against the natural ebb and flow of circumstances.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's a futile effort.
Right.
The true power lies in accepting what we can't change and focusing on our own response to whatever life throws our way.
So instead of trying to force the sky to be something it's not, we learn to dance in the rain, find shelter during the storms, and appreciate the beauty of each passing moment.
Exactly. And that's the essence of the let them theory.
It is.
It's not about giving up or becoming passive.
Right.
It's about choosing our battles wisely, focusing on what we can control, and creating a life that aligns with our values, our dreams, and our deepest desires.
It's about recognizing that true power comes from within.
Yeah.
From our ability to choose our thoughts, our actions, and ultimately our own happiness.
And as we wrap up our deep dive into the let them theory, we leave you with a final thought-provoking question.
Okay.
One that wasn't explicitly addressed in our exploration.
I'm listening.
Now that you've embraced let them, what exciting possibility will you say yes to in your let me era?
Oh, I like that.
What dream will you chase?
Yeah.
What adventure will you embark on?
Yeah.
What act of self-love will you finally prioritize?
Right.
The choice is yours.
It is.
Embrace the power of let me and create a life that truly reflects the magnificent, unique, and capable person that you are.
Mel Robbins suggests asking yourself a very honest question.
Okay.
Is this issue a deal breaker for me? Or can I truly accept it and move forward without resentment?
It's about separating those minor annoyances we can learn to live with from those fundamental incompatibilities that erode the foundation of a relationship. And sometimes the answer is that we can't accept it. And that's okay.
Right.
It's painful to end a relationship.
It is.
But remember, heartbreak is survivable.
It is.
It's like that saying, sometimes good things fall apart so better things can fall together.
I like that.
But knowing that intellectually doesn't always make the emotional experience any easier.
That's true.
So what can we do?
Mel Robbins offers some practical tips for navigating the healing process.
Okay.
Things like no contact with your ex, journaling to process your emotions, focusing on self-care, and filling your calendar with activities that bring you joy.
It's like giving yourself permission to grieve, to heal, and then eventually to open your heart to new possibilities.
And speaking of new possibilities, this brings us to one of the most profound aspects of the let them theory.
Okay.
The power of let me in our relationship with ourselves.
Oh, yes. The most important relationship of all.
It is.
It's so easy to be our own worst critics.
Right.
Constantly comparing ourselves to others and beating ourselves up for our perceived flaws.
It's like we have this inner bully who's always whispering negative thoughts in our ear.
Exactly. But what if we applied the let them theory to our own inner critic?
Oh, that's a great idea.
What if we said, let those negative thoughts come and go. Let those feelings of self-doubt exist. They don't have power over me unless I give it to them. And then we shift to let me focus on my strengths. Let me appreciate my unique qualities. Let me be kind to myself.
It's like replacing that inner bully with a supportive best friend.
Yeah.
Someone who encourages us, celebrates our wins, and reminds us that we are worthy and capable just as we are.
And that shift in self-perception can be incredibly transformative.
It can.
It allows us to show up in the world with more confidence,
authenticity,
and joy.
Mel Robbins has this beautiful analogy of the sky to illustrate this concept. He says, imagine the sky as a constant, ever-changing entity. Sometimes it's clear and blue.
Right. Sometimes it's filled with clouds, and sometimes there are storms.
Yeah.
We can spend our lives trying to control the weather, wishing for endless sunshine.
Yeah.
But the sky doesn't care about our preferences.
It's true.
It simply is.
And the same is true for life.
Yes.
We can resist reality. We can fight against the natural ebb and flow of circumstances.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's a futile effort.
Right.
The true power lies in accepting what we can't change. And focusing on our own response to whatever life throws our way.
So instead of trying to force the sky to be something it's not, we learn to dance in the rain, find shelter during the storms, and appreciate the beauty of each passing moment.
Exactly. And that's the essence of the let them theory.
It is.
It's not about giving up or becoming passive.
Right.
It's about choosing our battles wisely, focusing on what we can control, and creating a life that aligns with our values, our dreams, and our deepest desires. It's about recognizing that true power comes from within, from our ability to choose our thoughts, our actions, and ultimately our own happiness.
And as we wrap up our deep dive into the let them theory, we leave you with a final thought-provoking question.
Okay.
One that wasn't explicitly addressed in our exploration.
No, wasn't.
Now that you've embraced let them, what exciting possibility will you say yes to in your let me era?
Oh, I like that.
What dream will you chase? What adventure will you embark on? What act of self-love will you finally prioritize?
Right.
The choice is yours.
It is.
Embrace the power of let me and create a life that truly reflects the magnificent, unique, and capable person that you are.